What's up, guys and gals? It's time for the latest chapter review for Kengan Omega, chapter 301, entitled Extra Manpower. Now, I think that's a bit of a weak sauce title because I would have referred to this as Extra Tank Power, Extra Army Power, because we all know the big thing about this chapter, okay? It sort of felt like a filler chapter, though, didn't it? Because these two side characters are doing a bit of a training arc, and realistically, they're kind of failing. They're getting better, but they're still failing to a degree, right? So, I mean, following around a couple of side characters while they train before we get to the meat and potatoes of the real arc, that's fine, I suppose, but, you know, I don't want to waste a whole chapter on these guys. But it is salvaged. It's salvaged by, of course, the appearance of a lot of fan-favorite members of the Kure clan. You know, Hollis is there, Carla's there, Carla's mom is there, like, they're... You know, so it's all good. It's all good. And then, of course, the devil himself shows up at the end of the chapter, and it's like, okay, I can deal with 18 pages of side character training, and then get our boy, then get the devil. The devil, Kure Raian himself. Now, okay, I know some people were upset by the fact that he came back and he got rid of the stubble. Though, in my estimation, I'm not going to lie, I honestly think that the stubble, maybe it's just the way it's drawn or maintained or what have you. I think Raian looks better without the stubble. Almost in general. Like, look at me. I look better like this than clean shaven. Most guys do. Generally speaking, no matter how hot you are on this, you know, on the objective scale, generally speaking, stubble, maybe not full beard, but generally speaking, that little bit of 5 o'clock shadow into stubble makes a guy just look better. In general. Raian, however, is one of the few exceptions where I think he looks more badass and more dangerous clean shaven. You know? Maybe that's just me, but just some guys can pull that shit off, you know? There are some actors who can do the same deal, you know? Tom Cruise, John Hamm, Gabriel Mock, these guys look still intimidating and badass, clean shaven. They do, you know? So it just is what it is. But that being said, I really just enjoyed the fact that Raian came back. He looks like Raian. It seems like that, you know, that week break, you know, Dara would manage to, you know, get a little bit of spice back into his pen and paper and manage to give us, because that last shot, I mean, it looks really good, right? It does look really good. I also like something that was brought up to the fact that there's some gags in there like, oh, no wonder she's Oma's wife, blah, 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 because she took down... you know, from behind, she took down Koga without any resistance. They're like, all right, guys, you're getting smarter. Like, split yourselves up. You have a better shot. Ryuki lost, you know, and so did Koga and stuff. And apparently, they've attempted this 24-hour training 4 times. 4 times. They've gotten better. According to Hollis, 2 hours is a new record. So they've only managed to last 2 out of 24 hours, and now. Something that was brought up that I really enjoy. There's some jokes and stuff like that, and it's all feel good, really realistically. Like, we're not getting the tension they're actually going to die or anything. But that's of course not the point of the training either. They already said, you know, we're using the backside of a reverse blade sword style. Everyone loves Kenshin. We're doing that idea. We're doing the Samurai X deal. We're also using, you know, not sharpened things. We're using bamboo. We're using this, that, the other thing, right? Everything still hurts. Rubber bullets, rubber arrows, that kind of idea. Like, I always forget how to say her name. Fuusi? She was using a crossbow, and she was like, bang, bang, and shot Ryuki from the back while he's trying to take on the one shot, the one with the do-rag on, who was serving the rice and stuff like that. Funnily enough, she still looks like, oh, I'm still the cook. I'm still in a cook's apron, and, you know, a lot of cooks wear do-rags and, you know, stuff like that, of course, to keep the hair out of your food and stuff like that, and for the sweat. I know that I wear one when I'm cooking and stuff like that a lot of the time. But, funnily enough, she's still in all that cookware, and then it's like a sickle. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking cut you. You know, so that was kind of cool, too. Yeah, I mean, the pacing of the chapter was fine. You know, it was a full training thing, but I really like... So Raian coming back was obviously the best part of the chapter, in my opinion. the pacing was fine and all that stuff. What I really liked is what Hollis sort of brought up is like, okay, yeah, these guys are steadily getting better, blah, blah, blah. And the reason he brings Raian in is like, well, yeah. But at the end of the day, we're the Kure clan. Because Koga and Ryuki are getting like sort of down on themselves, being like, yeah, you know, this just, our training, like we thought we were so good and stuff like that. And our training hasn't really pulled anything out, you know what I mean? Like, we feel like weak sauce, you know what I mean? It's sort of like, you know, you grind and you level up in a video game and you're like, okay, now I can go fight that boss. And you finally beat that boss, and after all that training, you were like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good, which is literally, I'll bring that up next. That's literally what Koga did. And he's like, yeah, okay, so now I can stand, alright, it'll still be, you know, uphill battles, but I'm more mid-range now. I can do this stuff. And then you, like, after you pass that level, the next level, it's just that exponential jump, and all of a sudden you're getting your ass kicked by, you know, goblins again. You've just killed a demon lord, and now the new stage, the new area that you unlock past the boss just has this swarm of normally low level guys who are kicking your ass, and it's just like, you know. Now granted, as Hollis pointed out, that might be a bad analogy realistically, because he's like, we're the goddamn Kure clan. They shouldn't be able to do this easily. It would make us look terrible if they manage to actually do better than they're doing. Like, we're the goddamn Kure clan, you know? So I'm like, alright, I like that they bring that up. It's like, the Kure clan and all of its members are vastly superhuman, pretty much, right? Most of them have stats above the level of, or at the very least, peak human conditioning, if not beyond it, for a lot of their, you know, stronger members. I'm sure, you know, Carla's mother and stuff like that, Hollis, we know that they're all beyond. You know, Ryan's beyond, you know, we know Edio is beyond. A lot of these guys are just beyond that level even without the removal. That's the whole point of finding, you know, strong stock and stuff like that, right? For the Kure clan. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I like that they brought that up, that this does not mean that Koga and Ryuki are weak or anything like that. It's like the Kure clan is getting a full chapter of just straight up respect. Like, this is not easy to go through the gauntlet of the demon house itself, and you can't just foderize these guys. You know what I mean? You would need S tier characters to be able to run this gauntlet. Like, it would not be easy, right? So, and still, I think S tiers, as we just saw with like the way Oma's doing his training, he'd get tired out. You know, like he would get tired and stuff like that, right? So, I mean, yes, could S tiers pass this training probably way easier or successfully do it? I'm sure that a lot of them could, but this is also a great thing for the power scaling. And bringing now back around to my final point about the whole, you know, Koga beat the boss, Yumigahara, right? And Zaiji and all this stuff, right? And we know how strong Ryuki is supposedly supposed to be and stuff, right? So it's like, how are these guys getting their ass kicked? Well, it's no different right now than Oma. Oma is Oma's trying to do something different to a higher degree, but he's still running a gauntlet. That is way more difficult, running a gauntlet, than it is to just straight up 1v1 someone. Plus, a lot of people overestimated Koga's victory over Yumigahara, and I said it back then, and now it's rearing its ugly head. This has no problem with power scaling, realistically, you know. Yumigahara was out of practice, was still, you know, he had recovered from his damage, blah, blah, blah. He was never super strong. We only have one statement that was, you could even argue, was just to bring Agito into the fold to sort of, you know, antagonize him to join the fight against Purgatory. That's the only line of any indication we have that Yumigahara is way up here, realistically speaking, okay? So the fact of the matter is that Yumigahara doesn't exactly have as many feats, I would argue, that put him in this super strong category. And the fact that Koga beat an basically sort of out of work, sort of a bum at this point, who's been out of practice, out of training, just doing hits for the mob rather than actually doing anything over the last, you know, couple of years. I mean, you know, this Yumigahara is absolutely, the one he defeated was far weaker. And I mean far weaker. I mean at least a tier from wherever you originally put him, at least a tier down from where he was at the time of the Purgatory Tournament. So the fact that Koga managed to beat Yumigahara, then he comes into here and within 2 hours is getting his ass kicked by the Kure clan members, well, I would once again argue that he is being defeated by some of the strongest members of the Kure clan, who are not supposed to be slouches. They are literally the assassination group in Japan. They should have more than just Raian and Ario, right? And they do. And that's totally fine. So I think this works perfectly to showcase that, yes, he might have grown, off screen did a bunch of growth. However, he still has a lot more room to grow, and that's a good thing. That's only a good thing for Ryuki and Koga, because I would just not buy Koga, like when that Yumigahara chapter came out, I would not buy that Koga off screen, top of C tier, maybe low B at best, just jumped to the top of A tier. Off screen within one fight. I'm not going to buy that. That would irk just about anybody in a power scaling community. And it does not happen supposedly to main characters. They don't get that type of boost. It's almost unheard of in most shonen generally and seinen manga that come to, action, adventure, that kind of idea. So either way, I think the chapter was fine. The Kure clan got its respect. We got Raian back in the fold. I got no problem with this. It's sort of fixating what I was saying about the Yumigahara stuff, showcasing that was sort of a tilted fight at the time, and that W sort of has more of an asterisk towards it, and now we're seeing the fruits of that labor showcasing here in this chapter. Kure clan gets respect, Raian's come back, Koga and Ryuki are sort of put back in their place because everyone was riding the high like Koga's now the gatekeeper of A tier all of a sudden, just because he won one fight against an out of practice bum, who wasn't the top of A tier to begin with. So I don't know. I think people were just hyped up to see Koga have another victory. But once again, it came after a bunch of off-screen training. He comes back, he kicks ass. Now he's back sort of where he always was. So maybe that irks some people the wrong way. I'm not sure. Either way, I enjoyed the chapter. I thought it was good. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys back here next time for more Kengan Omega. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Sayonara.